All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. One thing that I didn't, realize when they blocked me from moving to T-Mobile was how much cheaper it was. I'm finally getting payback. I actually was able to find internet even cheaper than T-Mobile, and I don't know. I got a special calculated deal. I mean, the price might go up later. I don't know, but it looks pretty good. I got my bills, and it's kind of a package. If you go with a package with, because they got all the other services and things. All I was trying to do was I called in and I was like, and I actually wanted to go to their mobile service last year with a second phone just to have it just in case something went wrong with my one phone. Kind of a safety thing. And then eventually changed my phone number also. But I couldn't get to that. They've been operating me all year. It's depletion operations designed to do stuff like that in your life. So you can't get to things in your life. No, it doesn't have to do with mental illness. It has to do with causing mental illness. But again, usually call that psychological torture, psychological operation, depletion, disruption. And they're disrupting from everyday things, not from somebody committing a crime. That's their scam. And they're not testing anybody. It's a scam. They say it's a test, but the one person they, essentially scumbag and screw all day, and the other people they elevate and help them in the middle of the test, so they don't show even missing a beat. I've seemed to be affected. Of course, I'll be affected. You ruined the last 35 years of my life. Most people either dead or in prison that you do this to. In actuality, the program is supposed to be used by the people that are using it against me. That's the scam. They took over the program that was designed to take them out. So again, I'll bring up what we're supposed to be doing that nobody probably planned. So the only way to actually be effective, based upon what we see anti-strategically, what we see the op four doing strategically, is to not have to travel on road transportation. We make that available. That'll be there. We can have National Guard. We can have law enforcement. They will travel on the road. But we always are going to need now, because flash mobs, uh, to you, when you look at all these crazy kids, oh my god! But to me, it's like, did the Russians trigger that? Did these psychological operators working for things such as politicians and political movements trigger that? Again, practicing their wares and creating that mechanism where they can do that. So we need to make sure that we can circumvent flash mobs. The only way to do that really is via air transportation. And of course, fixed wing is not what we need. So we need to ensure that we have alternative options. And that's where the National Guard air transportation comes in. And there's only so many ways to work that so that it works for the overall strategic operation, and that's to marry up uh, the special teams with that transportation. But we can also marry up ground National Guard. So how do we do that? Why? What if we don't need it? So we have the National Guard armories. We put them on 25% security for I guess generally just based upon what I'm seeing, election day, 24 hours, and then if we see something else, we can do something else. Then we bring the aviation assets can be at the airfield, and the National Guard people could be at the airfield, or we could reverse that. Depending on what the National Guard armory looks like, we can bring the aviation assets into the National Guard armory perimeter, and then the security can be handled by by the National Guard people at the armory. So there's, it just depends what works better for the plan. We also have SWAT teams. They can bring their normal vehicles, and all their stuff over to wherever that assembly point is, wherever that home base is going to be. That way, if they want to travel by land, they can travel by land. If they want to get up into the helicopters, they can get up into the helicopters. The only drawback with the helicopter, I guess, and then we need to check that out. It might be sling loadable. Maybe we can prepare their vehicles for sling load and just sling. Because again, the idea is that we might not be dealing with a major city. We could be dealing with something further out. But yet, to get out of the major city, we might have to go through a flash mob or something like that. So, a tool, what has been observed as a possible tool of foreign spies and or private sector spies, is the use of flash mob type thing, including the flash mobs on the highways. So again, that could have been all those or some of those could have been an attempt by intelligence agencies, foreign and or domestic, to test the waters on flash mobs and blocking roadway traffic. And then they use it when we're trying to respond to an election day, some election day unrest or something like that, or whenever. Most people don't care in law enforcement because they're part of something and they're taught not to question anything. Just do it. They tell you, and then you'll get paid your corruption fees. That's why Bob's not here anymore. Bob Levinson, that is. Because he's not corrupt. So again, to assemble the what I guess they would call a task force, to assemble task forces strategically that allow for various modes of transportation. The helicopters also, if in fact we have a SWAT team moving out to a location and they encounter impenetrable traffic or traffic that's slowing them down to the point where they'll be the mission will be hindered. Then again, maybe helicopters responding also. So we have to. I know some of those vehicles the smaller armored vehicles. I think they are uh, sling loadable. So again, that would be something they could do in the next 29 days now, I guess, and the sooner the better. Is take a look at the SWAT vehicles and find which ones are sling loadable, and everybody trains on that. Well, because like the state trooper, they might have to get their if they have, I think they have SWAT vehicles. They may have to get their SWAT vehicle out to the middle of the state, and there's no quick way to do that. I think when they did it in Santa Fe, the FBI they had to I think they had to transport it. If I'm not, I can't remember how it all happened. Right. So it takes time to know, and if you don't know where you need it, right? We agree there. So we should rely more and more on helicopter. I told you years ago to rely more and more. So even before I knew the flash mob thing, I told you more and more helicopter, movement, air mobile, make everything air mobile. And even if there isn't a flash mob, when you want to move a armored vehicle, again, I think it's is it no, that's airdroppable. The Sheridan tank, I think. I can't remember. No, you can't sling load a Sheridan tank. No, that's airdroppable, right? So, but let's see. You do a 2.5 ton dump truck. What else could they do? Trying to remember how large they could go. Well, again, that's something that we need to investigate. And again, if you're in a police department and you realize this, you might want to, exchange your armored vehicle or purchase an additional one that's sling loadable, or a helicopter like a Chinook C-17, I guess it is, can fly it, or whatever else there's out there. Now I'd have to look at all the different helicopters that are sling loading these days, and then that could get you from uh, wherever your SWAT team is based to maybe the center of the state in a jiffy. Thank you, friend. Thank you, Larry. So again, yeah, people have to be investigated for trying to stop government assistance, as usual. That guy doing something funky with his hands in his eyes, so probably needs to awaken. Like, So I guess even after the election, that should be the goal here, and I'll post it several places. The Air National Guard at a minimum. Again, the U.S. military could do it. Also, transportation missions can be handled by anybody, I believe. So what we do is we get with uh, people, the law enforcement people, find out uh, what their SWAT team uses, and we have to run it through, I guess, Fort Rutgers, and then see if they, at first they have to say yes, it's a sling loadable thing. I mean, you can look at it yourself. You got your own experts, and then, but of course, you have to run it through Fort Rutgers and see what they say, yeah. Or Rucker, whatever, Rutgers. I can't remember. But set it up so you meet, you look at the vehicle. Right. Well, Spec Ops, I know, does that every so often. There's a load, and then at least that's the scuttlebutt. And then they, strategize it, contact Fort Rucker, that kind of thing. Well, the military could have Air National Guard on-call units, and those on-call units could, be on call to SWAT teams also. I know we used to Con Air used to fly out of Harrisburg, was it? And we used to, there used to be Air National Guard people always on duty, right? Good thing we get to the vending machines for the junk food and the and maybe another and a cup of mocha what's it called? Cocoa mocha out of their coffee vending machine. Remember the days? That's how you used to get your coffee, right? It was like, I mean, there was some Starbucks, not like today, you know. Go to the vending machine and get a cocoa mocha. And then, of course, at a certain point, there were no Starbucks, right? There was just that vending machine with the cocoa mocha. You go in and use the bathroom and then get a cocoa mocha and a bag of chips or something. Or a Danish, a bear claw, and a cocoa mocha. Or a honey bun. So, these are the things that we need to do. My sinuses are trashed right now. I don't know what happened. It must be the allergies. My eyes are itchy. Right. That's what that guy was probably doing over there. Don't rub your eyes if allergens get in your eyes. Just grin and bear it because you rub it in worse. Right. So strategizing forward, uh, we need to analyze quick ways to deploy specialized units. You know, I think once Trump is gone, we shouldn't have so much of this, right? And that was my point about getting him gone and not assassinated. Yeah, that's not in my repertoire of curses. Again, I don't will for people to be tortured, but God might do that. Well, the problem is, again, it's a skewed. I was going to do a show on this, but I got busy. You have skewed analysis, all of you. What one person deserves and what another person deserves. Right? It's insane. Again, it's based. A lot of it's based upon possession of your minds. Like you don't realize your minds are possessed, and that you're making wrong judgment calls. So what we need to do is we need to ensure that. And again, there's no reason even outside of Trump that we don't have this in place. Right, we did it with the dogs. The dogs. I don't know if you did it with the dog. Again, they blocked some of my stuff, so I don't know. I told you to do it with the dogs, the bloodhounds, quick deployments. You have aviation assets to take dogs. Now that could probably be done in a general in their general helicopter. Well, we're looking at squad deployments, and we're also looking at larger than just like a few people, right? And also possibly vehicle deployment, a specialized vehicle such as a armored vehicle. So what that might lead to, I don't know what you all have, but there are obviously armored vehicles that are light enough to sling load and are probably built for it, and probably have some quick. Some will probably have quick. I think there is some that have quick sling load points, attachment points. Right. So you need 4 points on the vehicle. Well, if you can sling load it, you can get it there quick. So what happens is, I don't know if you all know how this works, and a lot of ex-military. So again, I'm not trying to insult anyone. I know there's a lot of ex-military, and they really don't need an in briefing, and they really don't need training. But we're going to have, legally, that's what needs to happen. Believe me, due diligence, and if something goes wrong down the road, there was an in briefing, there was legal. I mean, there was training and that kind of thing. But there should be liaison work conducted. And right. So the idea is we need to get, again, bottom line is we need to get the special ops teams, law enforcement, special ops teams uh, in possession of armored, probably a light, I guess they would call it a light armored vehicle, but armored vehicle that is sling loadable. And then we look for the units that can sling load, which would be probably a Chinook unit at this point. I don't know who else is out there. I guess they also have the C. I don't know, the CSAL unit. I don't think it exists anymore. There's the Pavlo was taken out. I don't know what's available. Oh, Air National Guard might have something different in their inventory, and they might be just activating a couple helicopters here or there. Outside of this election, I don't see a need for it. However, that doesn't mean that there won't be. I mean, I don't. I see what I can see. Again, it may simply be due diligence, so we don't have to use it. If I remember correctly, there's some armored vehicle that I was looking at that they had designed sling load attachment points to it. And that may be all of them. I don't know anymore. I mean, I have to look. I don't know what everybody's using. Right. Just trying to look and see if I see anything coming up in this election. Again, we don't know where each person is. I mean, Trump doesn't even know. Right. So we might have people doing things on their own. I mean, they may already be programmed. Now, this is a sensitive topic, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. The HRT team in the Lavoy Finicum thing showed signs of being guilty of something. That HRT member said he did not discharge his firearm. Based upon what I know HRT has done in the past, which was, again, they came up as possibly dirty in Baltimore, as far as, and even these break-ins could be HRT. I'm not that stupid. In Baltimore, somebody like that came up as a possibility. Again, they may be responsible for Luna's death. I've helped HRT for years the best I could. But of course, the more they deplete me, the less I'm able to help them. So that individual didn't want his name on a list of people that fired at Lavoy Finicum. Why? It's obvious that Lavoy Finicum was psychologically operated and agitated and radicalized into being who he became. HRT came up weird around Lavoy's death. Again, the why is still out there. Possibly because they were the same people. Like if you check to see where that guy was, he was HRT on duty in Lavoy's hometown. That was one of the theories. And may have psychologically operated Lavoy and radicalized Lavoy using forbidden fruit. So if his name showed up as having shot at Lavoie and they looked, they would find that he was around Lavoie before. And he may have been paranoid about what he did to Lavoie or what somebody else did to Lavoie. Again, just a hypothesis.